Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi from the winery.
Yes, we are in here, and if you guys can hear some noises, we apologize. It is an operating running winery during harvest time.
As you can tell, we're in our vests because safety never takes a holiday, especially not in the middle of harvest, in a cellar.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone is always wearing your safety vest, and if you don't, you get called out. So we thought better.
We don't want to be called out.
Yeah. We wanted to be good examples.
Absolutely. So Nikki, we're just about to tell everybody, what are we hearing right now? And I don't know if you guys can hear the ringing that we hear, but there is some like high-pitched ringing going on.
Yeah, so the high-pitched ringing that you may or may not hear is actually CO2 escaping from the top of our barrels. So we have some release bones in, which is the closure that you use during fermentation. And during the fermentation process, CO2 is created and it has to escape. It's creating a lot of pressure in there. So there's a little tiny part of the top closure that pops up and it allows that CO2 to escape. And it makes a nice little humming noise. So I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, I apologize. But we are right here with you.
It's much better than what we started at. It was really noisy in here. So shout out to Brian Starkovich and Elizabeth Kester for helping us, one, find this location, and two, turn the noise down. We're super grateful.
Yeah.
So thanks for the team at Winery helping us.
Yeah, they're the real MVPs tonight because we showed up and we're like, okay, where are we going to do this Wine Wednesday? And we're like, oh, Elizabeth came over and she's like, oh, we actually have some grapes that just got delivered in the cool room right now, and you have barrels, you have grapes, like what more could you ask for?
Grapes behind us.
Yeah. They're just cooling down from a hot drive and then getting processed soon after. So that's kind of what we got going on.
Yeah.
And
And I saw a couple comments that the barrels are singing. That's what we call it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually excited about the ringing because I'm like, oh, the barrels are singing. You're getting a real harvest winery experience right now through the screen.
Yeah. You might not be able to come to the winery right this second, but when we open up for tours and tastings again, you guys can come on in and hear the singing yourself. 2021 is going to be a wonderful year.
That's right. Also, Nikki and I both wanted to wear our vests because we wanted to make sure, hide the fact that I picked her up and we're both wearing green shirts and blue jeans. So we just thought we would twin it up a little bit more for you guys and keep you on your toes. Who's who? That'll be a fun guessing game for you.
Yeah.
Don't say my name.
Yeah. Never.
Well, we're having fun today, and the reason that we picked the Pinot Noir clones and the Syrah is because around this time of year, that's typically what's being harvested right now.
Yeah, so we actually just brought in our first block of Pinot Noir.
I want to make sure they can hear you.
Okay. I talk pretty loud, but I'm going to come up nice and in front and center.
We just switched spots.
Sorry if everyone's scared of me at this point. But we typically are picking Pinot Noir and Syrah at this time of year, end of September, early October. And this year, we picked our first block of Pinot Noir late last week, which is really great. And it does oftentimes make it into this Pinot Noir clone. So one of our really beautiful blocks of Pinot Noir down in Arroyo Seco, and it is already looking lovely in the tank. So excited about that one. And Syrah is, I was just talking to our winemaker, Andy Lynch, who does all of our small lot programs.
Both of these
wines.
Yep.
And he is excited to start pulling off Syrah, hopefully either end of this week, so by Friday, or early next week. So we're really swinging into the reds. We're actually finishing up White Harvest this week, which is exciting. I love it when we can cross something off our list.
Even Riva Ranch Chardonnay?
No, sorry, excuse me.
Cotter.
Whites and Livermore are finishing up this week. In Arroyo Seco, we actually don't pick whites until October, and that's just the way that it ripens there. It's much slower ripening in Arroyo Seco than in Livermore. So we're really close to finished in Livermore with whites, but in Arroyo Seco, we still have our Riva out there and a few other whites that we grow out there as well.
There you go.
Do we have any?
So the Pinot Noir clones, if you're not familiar, I'll bring it up to the cameras. Whoops, everything's backwards. There you go. It's a really fun wine. It's part of our Winemaker Studio collection. It's a blend of different clones, which we even call it on the label. This is a blend of clone 667 and Pomard clone. Two of my personal favorites. I also love 115.
Yeah, it's actually funny. My cousin Carl and Carl is our chief winemaker, we have had the long battle of what clone of Pinot Noir is the best. And a clone is a genetic variation within a variety. So same variety, just maybe something unique about the specific clone of the variety that makes it its own unique clone. So I love 667. It's my favorite. As a farmer, it always comes out the same. You can expect great clusters, small but good fruit set. And the flavor is beautiful. It's balanced, it's mellow, it's everything I like in a Pinot Noir. And he likes the Pommard because it's a little bit more impactful, a little bit darker flavor or darker color, a little bit more intense flavor, more ripe strawberry kind of right in your face. And it's absolutely lovely. But you can't always trust Pommard. Sometimes it's a big harvest and sometimes it's a really small harvest. So that's kind of where I
trust it.
You can't always trust it. As a farmer, I have to think about these things. And so 667 is my tried and true, and Pommard is Carl's favorite. And so when Andy made this wine as a 667 and Pommard, I thought that was just the perfect way to...
Of you and Carl.
Yeah.
In a wine together.
In a wine together. Cousin Carl, love you.
Wine nerds, I think that was it's so funny when we start talking about, which phonetic variation of a clone is your favorite.
I like that phonetic variation.
Oh, they're singing different right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard it,
but the tone is changing.
Yeah, the tone of the ringing changed.
The tenors came in.
They're singing a different song right now. The barrels. This is my personal favorite. I love this wine, and I love that it kind of changes every year. So I think it's super fun to enjoy.
Yeah.
And share with friends because it's fun to open every new vintage because it's like an adventure each time.
And I feel like it speaks to Pinot Noir. So if you are a Pinot Noir lover, this is a tried and true Pinot Noir. It tastes like Pinot, it looks like Pinot, it smells like Pinot. Everything about it screams Pinot, which is, I'm a Pinot girl, and as is my sister. So something must be in the water over here.
We love it. I saw a really cool comment from Sarah on Instagram who said that we inspired her to take a wine and fit class, and so now she's enrolling in a course.
Oh, that's awesome!
Awesome, good for you.
Yeah.
I love that. It's always amazing to kind of pick up new hobbies and pursue new education. So
I totally agree.
Hear how the whole course goes, Sarah.
Yes, come visit us and tell us how it goes.
Absolutely. Niki will check on more comments.
All right. I see. Love me some Pinot. Saw that.
If you guys have questions about things that are happening at the during harvest or what's happening at the winery right now, if you're just joining, the barrels are singing. They're releasing some CO2, so that is just a natural process of winemaking.
Yeah.
And it's escaping the barrels, which is, all part of what makes our wine so delicious.
Yeah, and I just saw one question, not about the Pinot or the Syrah, but describe Charles Wetmore in 1 minute. Happy to do it. So Charles Wetmore, Charles Wetmore is grown in a specific part of the Livermore Valley. It's the southwest portion, close to Lake Del Valle, if you're from the area. That area, that terroir, has a little bit cooler climate, so it's about 2 degrees cooler on any given day because it's a little bit lower in elevation in some spots. And then up higher, it gets a little bit more sunshine, which is nice. So we have grapes in both high and low in that area, which mix really well to make a lot of complex flavors within that wine. It has very deep soils, deep gravel soils, so really well drained, which is great for Cabernet because it stresses the vines naturally because the water just flows straight through, makes the roots dig really deep, which is what you want in the Cabernet, and it creates really small berries. When you're a little bit water stressed, the berries are smaller, which means that there's more skin to juice contact because there's less surface area. So you're covering a lot less juice with that berry when you have that smaller berry. So it creates concentrated flavors, deeper color. I'd say the flavors range from blackberry to blueberry, and you get a little bit of pepperiness and something I like to call Livermore dust, which I think just kind of explains the terroir. It has this beautiful earthiness that plays very well with the nice fruit of the blackberry, the blueberry in there, and it also has like maybe some chocolate shavings to go along with it, and it's just such a well-balanced wine. Feels like velvet going down your throat, and it's just one of my favorites.
think that was longer than a minute.
Sorry, I always go too long.
Than a minute. Nikki is long-winded.
I am long-winded.
Now.
I did see
We're
another.
not gonna answer a question, and it's like, oh, let me tell you my life story.
I know. So when I was born, yeah, so I saw another question about fires. This is a question we obviously are getting a lot. Everyone in the state of California is quite worried. Actually, the entire West Coast, I'd say, from Washington down through California. You know, we're still, every day, we're testing our fruit to make sure that we're providing you, our customers, with the highest quality. Everyone in California only wants to be making the best wine. We don't want to sell our customers something that we wouldn't drink. So we are taking every precaution to make sure that we're only picking stuff that should be picked. We're consulting our crop insurance when we need to, and
we're doing a lot of testing. We're sending our samples to a laboratory to get tested. We're doing microferments to test that.
Berry samples, microferment samples on every single block. So we're taking it very seriously to make sure that there's no impact to our wines, and that's all happening prior to pick. So we've gotten a lot of good results back. We're sharing with the Valley. We're sharing with our friends down in Arroyo Seco as well to make sure that we're all in this together and making the best wines for all of our consumers across the state of California, across the United States, across the world. So the 2020 vintage is still going to be phenomenal. I wouldn't let fires scare you away from it, because at the end of the day, all of the wine producers want your trust. You're our consumers, you're our friends, you're our family that drinks our wines, and we want your trust, and we want to produce the best thing for you. So things that aren't good, we're not gonna pick it. We're not gonna produce it, and that's the way that it's gonna go.
Quality is really at the forefront of everything we do and what we've done for 5 generations.
Absolutely.
So it's the way that we will continue. I think there's another question. Look at that. Well, while Nikki's checking on questions,
so there's a question about late heat waves, and really the late heat waves don't do much. It just kind of dehydrates the fruit, and sometimes they'll shut down the vine from producing sugar, because if you get above 100, the vines shut down. They don't really like above 100, so sometimes it takes them a little while to get back into gear and producing sugars and maturing, so that we can pick the grapes. But I'm not too concerned with them, because we've seen great sugar accumulation. We're seeing great quality out there. So far we're okay. And it was such a mild, temperate season that it really, we were set up really well for this harvest. Prior to fires and heat waves. But I don't think that the heat waves are our biggest problem. I think that they're just doing a little bit of dehydration, so you lose a little yield. But
so I saw a question from Gail Brumley on, is there, one variety that's more affected? I think at this point, we're just learning as we go, and taking those learnings and figuring it out. So, at the end of the day, what we were saying before is we won't put anything in the bottle that we don't absolutely believe in and trust. Mm-hmm. And then I saw another question from Aly Noriega on a food pairing for the Pinot Noir. Ooh, I think like a beautiful mushroom risotto would go really good with this.
Or like a halibut.
A halibut. I like that.
Like a fatty, a more dense fish would be really nice. Because it is a really light Pinot. It's not very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good and tasty. Should we move to the Syrah?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to drink next the Nth Degree Syrah while Nikki and I pass it back a little bit.
Nth Degree Syrah is like my absolute favorite Syrah in the world. I love this wine.
This is a fun wine. So our cousin, if you're not familiar with the Nth Degree, really got behind this brand, I think in 2004. And the purpose of it was he really wanted to take our winemaking practices to the nth degree, and really focusing on what are we doing in the vineyards, how is the fruit being harvested, what are the flavors that we want, what are the techniques in the winery, and let's take them all to the nth degree and really elevate the wine, elevate the expression of the Livermore Valley, and create a really beautiful boutique brand that showcases the power and elegance and flavors that are coming out of the Livermore Valley.
Yeah, and Arroyo Seco as well. We do have an Nth Degree Pinot.
That's right.
Which is quite delicious, and that probably will be coming off next week, my guess. It's pretty ripe, but we like to get that one riper. The Nth Degree tends to have a higher alcohol content and really rich flavors. So you're getting, the big wines, the beautiful, big, luscious wines.
This is 15.3%. So.
So we only need a taste.
Yeah, we need a taste. So I think Nikki just said it right. I think, when people are asking what are the different styles of all the wines that you make, I think the Nth Degree, because it is made by our cousin Carl, and it is like really his pride and joy. And what he loves is a full body, big, boom, in your face wine. And so I think that's what you get from these. You get the biggest, boldest expression of all of these varietals in the wines that they, that we can produce from them. Smiling.
I just what higher alcohol? Who would have known? Or something like that. It is very delicious, though. I love Syrah.
About the vineyards that it comes from?
Yeah. So we actually have 3 Syrah vineyards that go into this bottle of wine here. 2 are hillside Syrahs. One is a south-facing slope. And the other is a east-facing slope. So the east-facing slope is actually my favorite because it doesn't get too many high heat days. So it usually ripens a little bit slower because as the sun gets hotter, it's on the west side of our skyline here. So by the time the sun is very warm at 3 p.m. on the warmest days of the year during heat waves, the sun is not shining directly on the block. It's on the other side of the hill. So you don't have too much sun impact on that one. On the south-facing block, you get a little bit more sun exposure. So you're going to have those shriveled berries, and that's going to give you that candy flavor that kind of blends together really nicely with the almost like peppery flavors of the less sun-exposed block. And then we have one that's flat down at the bottom of the valley on really deep gravel soils, and that one just expresses really great fruit flavors. So you have like your cooked, your candied, your jammy flavors from the south-facing slope. You have your little peppery flavors more acidic from the east-facing slope, and then on the flat ground you get those really ripe, like raspberry, beautiful fruit flavors. And all 3 of those together just make such a complex, beautiful wine. Andy does a great job working with Carl on this beautiful wine, and I absolutely love it. It's such a treat anytime I get to try it. So I'm glad that we picked this one today.
It is fun. And it's a fun one to throw in a lineup. Like if you're doing a blind tasting, it's a fun one to throw people off and throw it in a blind tasting alongside some other
Cabernets or
Merlots. And to throw this in, I think it really shocks people and it kind of like excites them.
Yeah, because most people when they're in a blind tasting, they're not guessing Syrah. They're like, oh, this is a cab.
Yeah. And then speaking from experience, I've done it.
Yeah, I also saw a comment from May, your mother-in-law, and she said, this is Mike's favorite.
Yes, my father-in-law loves this wine, and it was because I threw it into a blind tasting, and I surprised him with it. And I think it was the crowd favorite. It won against some pretty tough competitors that year. So
take it from her, you guys. It's steal.
If we can get my father-in-law to like it, everyone will love it.
Wendy has always been my favorite. Thanks for Jill.
We wish we could pick up the computer and the phone. Some of you don't realize we're on 2 different devices and walk you around the winery so you can see. We're a little stuck, but you can see right here, there's bins that are full of fruit right here. I believe it's Pinot.
No, actually, this is Syrah and Zinfandel. No, this is just Zinfandel. So this is Zinfandel from oh my God, why am I blinking?
Are you the vineyard manager?
We don't actually farm this vineyard. So we also do custom crush. So this vineyard is actually one of the custom crush vineyards that we do. So we're just letting it cool off in here because they had a long drive. Mendocino.
Oh, Mendocino. Zinfandel in here.
Yes.
See, full of surprises, even here in the winery.
My brain doesn't work because I've been working since 3. AM, not PM. 2 hours, man, and I'm done.
Niki's normally in bed right now for harvest month. She's just gonna crack up.
Yeah, I'm pretty pathetic during this time of year, so you guys are seeing me in rare form.
So fun. Well, I'm not seeing any comments here. Well, I'm seeing a lot of comments, no questions.
Well, both of these wines are available on our website if you're interested in trying them. And if you have them already, please open up a bottle tonight. There's no better time to try it than after you've been talking about it all day. So this has been a treat for me because these are two of my very favorite wines that we make here at Wendy, and because they're the limited production, I don't get them all that often.
No, we don't.
So it was nice to be able to try this with you guys. If anyone has it open with us, thank you for tasting with us today, and we hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll add on, I know we're not trying these wines, but talked about it last month, and we did recently launch a new subscription wine service. So for all of our Wendy wine lovers who want their cellar stocked and I'll call them classics regularly, we have a Riva Ranch, a Morning Fog, and a Southern Hills Cab, a mixed case of Riva, Morning Fog, and Southern Hills that you can sign up for, and it's just a monthly shipment, flat rate, shipping included in the flat price every month. And you can find that on our website. It's called Wendy Plus, and it's been, I love my new membership. So if that interests you, check it out and let us know what you think. We're always interested in your feedback.
Okay, so we got a lot of some last minute questions. We had, when does the winery open?
The tasting lounge at Arroyo Road is opening this Thursday.
So tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh my gosh, what day is it?
Yeah.
And it'll be reservation only. So go check us out on Cellar Pass to book your reservation.
All right, and then Brian asked, what are the barcodes? Yeah, so we have lots of barrels, like thousands and thousands of barrels. So the barcodes help us to organize them. So they'll be the barrel group numbers. So someone could come up with their phone and scan it, and that'll take them to the barrel group online, and that's how we organize them and make sure that we're stirring every week. So we have, our team is amazing and they do such a great job, but the barcodes are very helpful. Curbside pickup.
Yes, we are offering curbside pickup. So if you want to place an order on our website, you can essentially select pickup as a winery, and then you can schedule a time on Cellar Pass to pick it up. I believe you can also just schedule a time on Cellar Pass to pick up and then get your order. We like to know when you're coming so that we can have our team prepared for you, so that it's a quick in and out for you if you want a limited interaction.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for your questions and for joining us. It's always a pleasure, and we hope you have a great day.
Happy Wine Wednesday.
Woo!
Good to see you all.
Take my last step here.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.